Welcome to Turning Pages, Contessa, the author of It's in the Bio. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to get a sneak peek of that book. I want to ask you, what inspired you to write this book?
Absolutely, absolutely. What inspired me is I am 49 years old this week and I am a single woman. I'm single. And so this character came to me at COVID. This is a book that I worked on for almost 5 years. And, we all had that time at COVID where we were stuck in the house, we couldn't leave. And so I, being single, tried the online dating. And so I signed up for multiple apps and sites. And if I tell you, it was interesting. It was interesting. And it was funny because I realized I'm not an online dater. I'm just not, right? But the experience of it never went away. It never went away. And so this character came to me, and all through COVID, she just kept talking to me and she kept talking. And the more she talked, she just kept building. And then the people with her kept building. And so that's how I was inspired, my own online dating experience.
Well, I have the same, well, personally, I don't like online. I think I tried eHarmony once and I think I lasted on Tinder for 5 minutes and then I deleted the app. Right? I was like, no. And I'm wondering, I don't know, do you think you'll ever go back to online or it's just something that is like on the burner for now?
I tried it even again, even before I finished the book, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm still single. Okay. So why not? Maybe it was COVID and maybe everybody was on it and we were inundated with the online experience. So I tried it again last year. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. I noticed that the men on there are very surface. I'm not surface. And so it doesn't work for me. I'm deep, right? And so to put myself into an experience that I know that doesn't align with me, it didn't go anywhere. So it didn't change at all. So it is permanently off the table for me. I'm not interested in online dating.
So your singleness has basically birthed this book into
Yes.
creation, which is
Yeah.
beautiful that you've been able to create this being in singleness. What are some ways that you deal with being single? Do you feel pressured because you're in your late 40s and you know do you feel pressured at all just to get that to have that person?
The pressure comes within, I think, what I'm innate and born with, right? I believe that I was born to be a wife. I grew up in a home with my mother and my father. My grandparents, maternal and paternal, were both married. My bloodline comes from marriage. That's all I know, right? And so it's innate for me to want to be married and to be in relationship with my husband, wherever he is, right? I constantly call him into my presence. Um, I think that, you know, the pain of singleness is something to be said. And I think that's why this book resonated with me so well. I even still go back and listen to it, right? Because it's hard out here. Times have changed, things have changed. People don't date the same, right? And your options nowadays are online or online or online. And for people like me, it's like, but I don't want to do online. I want to be organic. I want to meet somebody organic, and it's just not like that anymore. So I don't know what that's going to look like. But I'm glad I did do the experience, right?
Yeah.
You know.
What can readers get from this book? Like, what was the biggest takeaway the readers you think will get from this book?
I think the biggest takeaway that readers are going to take away is the realness of the character.
Yeah,
This character could be me, it could be you, it could be a friend, it could be a sister. She is so hilarious.
she
Okay.
is.
She's funny, she's unhinged, she says things, her intrusive thoughts come out, and it's almost like I call it an audio movie, right? When we were doing the process of the narration and everything, the sound engineer was like, it's almost like I'm watching a movie, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think that's what they're going to take away, the realness. There's a lot of people that deal with mental health issues, and we don't want to talk about it, right? I'm glad that there are places like you're offering right now for
Yeah.
people to talk about mental health. I've suffered with mental health issues as well. And so I think they're going to take away the mental health aspects of it, the singleness of it, the wanting someone in their life of it, right? The parents that are just intruding on your life while you're trying to deal with life. There's just so many aspects. Some of the characters that I use, those are all fictional characters.
Yeah.
People can relate to a pilot, right?
Yeah.
People can relate to the person who's into the new age type of thinking and things. And so there's some LGBTQ aspects in this book. You know, there's a little bit of everything for everybody in this book. And I think that with Monica, the character, and the different characters that play along with her story, I think that all of us can touch one of those characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I really liked listening to the audio was a different experience for me. Like I said, I've never even listened to a fiction on audio. So when I got the little sound bites, this is true. I felt like I was listening to a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and her character being as honest as she is, it sort of kind of reminded me of Bridget Jones' character a little bit,
I've
but
heard that.
yeah, of Bridget Jones' character a little bit, but a little bit more, I guess, honest in real time. Yeah. Even the things like when she was making dinner for herself, like I don't think people really know. Like sometimes we're not dishing out a really nice fancy meal for ourselves because we just can't be bothered.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And
And
it's the reality.
that's the thing I wanted, Monica, and I'm glad it took me so long. At first, I used to beat up on myself about why am I not done with this book, right? Because she was still developing, right? And I'm glad it took me this long because every single day that it took me to process Monica and who she was comes out in this book. Everything about her, there's so much depth to her. She's not just a character. Like I feel like I know a Monica, there's
Mm,
aspects of her that are me. And so, like you said, it's little mundane things. We don't always have to think about books as being so deep, right?
hmm.
There are the deep areas of book, there are the deep genres, right? But sometimes we just want somebody
Yeah.
real, somebody we can relate to. And like you said,
Yeah.
just dinner, just making dinner, just little bitty things that we all deal with every single day. And that's what
Yeah.
I love about Monica is her depth. She's no whole bars. She shows everything.
Yeah. So I haven't got that far into the book. What mental health stuff does she touch on?
She touches on anxiety issues. She
Hmm.
touches on PTSD. She
Okay.
touches on depression.
Okay. And I actually think for single women, especially single women over 30, because we've all been programmed to be married by in our 20s. I don't know about you, but I am divorced, but I was divorced in my early 20, well, my late 20s, right? But
Same, same.
yeah. But you still feel that pressure to just sort of like be coupled. I mean, I think it's innate in us. We want to be coupled,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And wanting that desire comes with a bit of anxiety, like that pressure. It comes with that anxiety, whether you got invited to a wedding and you're going solo because you don't have a plus one, or just simple Friday nights. It's nice to have someone to come home to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That was something that she deals with all the time, right? Not
Mhm.
only did she have mental health issues, she already had anxiety, she already had a little bit of depression, which she talks about along the way in the book. But to couple that on being single makes it a lot worse for her, right? And it unfolds a lot. It unfolds in little bitty things. There's a moment where I'm going to share with you if you didn't get that far in your
Mhm.
audience, but there's a moment where she was having a good day. She got ready for work. She goes downstairs and she tries to get into the wrong car and she has a panic attack.
Mm,
Little bitty things like that. I really, really took to Monica and unraveling what anxiety looks like, what a panic attack looks like, what PTSD looks like. I thought it was necessary, and that is going to be something else that people can touch on. That might sound very mundane to most people, like, oh, she went to the wrong car, so what? Somebody with mental health, that can be a complete disaster.
hmm. Yeah, that's true. It's the simple things that you don't even realize that a person think. I think it's the support too, the support. When you're dealing with mental health, whether it be depression, anxiety, and having things like panic attack, doing it single, alone, living by yourself,
Mhm.
it's comes with its challenges for sure. Have you found yourself in that situation and how have you dealt with it?
Absolutely. I have dealt with anxiety, panic disorder pretty much my entire life. Where
Mm.
it came from, I have no idea. I don't know if I'm just wired this way. I'm kind of supporting myself and believing this is how I'm wired. And the more I say and lean into that, that's how I'm wired, the better I have been feeling. I also coupled up with a wonderful, wonderful therapist last year, and I took time to work on me, and she gave me the okay and the opportunity to say it's okay. I don't know why that made a big difference. I've been to therapists before, I've seen psychiatrists. I don't mind speaking about my mental health.
Hmm.
I've been in support groups, I've been in counseling, I've been in all these things. And here, this woman comes in and says, what if the clothes don't get folded? What if the dishes don't get done? So what? And I'm looking at her where we're on a video call, and I'm like, so what? She's like, so what? And the
Yeah.
more I leaned into those so what moments and so what moments, I started to get a little bit more comfortable being unhinged, getting a little bit more comfortable. Like sometimes I might flip out and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's holding a space for your emotions and you're the one doing it.
Yes.
You're not relying on someone else to do it for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, what practices, mental health practices do you have now that helps you? And how did you have a process when you were writing this book?
No. I've
No?
been a writer my entire life. I started reading at 3 years old.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, 3 years old, I started reading. My mother and my father cultivated that in me. They constantly fed me books, fed me books, fed me books. My very first book I ever attempted to read, it wasn't right, was the dictionary. I would, I,
Okay.
I just loved words. I would just sit there and read and read and read. I wrote my first book at 12, and
Oh,
I took some paper and I wrote and I stapled it together and I drew the pictures of the people. And yeah, my brother found it, my older brother found it and laughed at me, and I hid that part away from me for a long time. I've always been a writer. It's always been in me. Writing comes very, very easy to me, very, very easy. Right now I've just decided to stand in that space and be okay and be proud. Like, guess what? It's me. I'm a writer, I'm an author. And so it was really easy for me to do it. I didn't have a process whenever she would start talking. And I know this is going to sound really weird to people who don't write, but being a writer, I always compare it to being almost schizophrenic. I know that's a scary term, but your characters
I
talk
can
to
see
you
that. Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You might be sweeping and your character will bring up a conversation, and that's what makes you run and, oh, I got to type this up. And so there's no process, there's no rhyme or reason. I started the beginning. I can remember going to like the 10th chapter before I knew it was the 10th chapter because she'd be talking. And then I'd go back to the second chapter because she'd be talking. And it's crazy, when it all came together, I was like, wow, I don't remember writing that. It just all pieces together. It's an amazing, it's a beautiful process to be a
Right.
creative. It's beautiful.
Did you have to do anything to tap into your creativity?
I had to trust myself. I had to trust myself when I was having a good day and I would
Mhm.
hear her. And I had to trust myself when I was having a bad day and I could hear her. I had to trust myself when um, I didn't feel like writing. I had to trust myself when I had to work a full-time job and then get back to her, right? I had to trust the entire process because if you don't, you'll start doubting your gift. You'll start doubting your project. And so you just have to trust good, bad, indifferent. If that character's talking, if any character is talking, go right. Go right.
Would you say on a subconscious level, you allowed yourself to become this writer? You allowed yourself finally to be a writer, and she was birthed through just you allowing yourself to be a writer?
Yes,
Yeah,
you worded that perfectly. I
yeah.
remember speaking to my narrator earlier this year, and I told her before we even got started, I felt like I was a doula to my own birthing process.
Mm.
It was really, really interesting to be a part of it. And I'm the person speaking of it, but it's a process. I literally felt like every time I would have a birthing pain, I would have to be my own doula. I would have to rub my own shoulders. I would have to be like, you're going to be fine. You're almost there. And so, yes.
Wow, that's beautiful. The reason why I asked, did you, so you never experienced any writer's block though during the process?
I don't really think there's anything, I hear about writer's block all the time. What I call writer's block are times where I stopped myself out of fear. I've had 3 children, so I know what birthing looks like.
Hmm.
You have to get from 1 to 10 centimeters. And I
Yeah,
can remember my very first child, I didn't know what I was dealing with. I had never had a child. And so, first centimeter, I'm terrified, I'm in pain. Second centimeter, I'm like, when is this going to be over? Third centimeter, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And I remember the nurses and the doctors kept telling me, you can't go backwards.
yeah,
You're going to have a baby today. And that's what writing and this whole process with this book felt like. It was going to happen regardless whether I wanted to or not.
you're not the first writer to tell me, well, for me to hear about that. I usually hear when you read at the back of the book of how the book came to be, the writer would usually say, it just came to me and the characters were speaking and I couldn't stop writing. I had to come home every day and then I just kept writing and I kept writing and I kept writing and it was almost as if the writing process was they were in a trance,
Yes.
right? And at the end of it, birthed this book. So like you said, like you're in labor the entire time and you're just going and going and pushing and pushing. And it's almost as if it's like kind of like an out of body experience where you don't even know if you're the one thinking it,
Yeah.
and you're just writing and stuff. And I want that experience one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely, you have it down to a science,
Yeah.
it is, like I told you, I would write something and then I'd come back and I would just go right back to it. And I'm like, I don't remember writing this.
Yeah.
It's I don't want to sound all freakish and weird, but it is out of body. It is
Yeah.
very out of body. You are creating something. You are bringing characters from imagination into a full realm.
Yeah.
That is magic. That is beauty. That is
It
power.
is. It
You
is.
are to create, without another human being and being in the sense of, oh, you're going to have a baby at the end. You are
Yeah.
creating, you're hearing these people. And it is such a honor to be a parent to this book and this process because like I said, she chose me to
Yeah.
birth her in her story. And so I'm honored, even though I wrote the book, I'm very honored that she chose to speak to me. She trusted that I could get her story out there and hopefully help a lot of women and or men
Yeah.
with situations that we're dealing with, singleness, mental health issues,
Hmm.
elderly parents. Her parents are a lot older than her. just all the different things. So I'm honored to be in this space as a author, as a creative, to be able to hear it and to be able to carry the weight of it because it is scary. It's scary
Yeah.
when you write something and you're like, when did this happen?
Yeah, and I like the idea of, you added those elements to it, but you also added humor to it, which I felt it just made it so much lighter and kind of like when you add humor to something and that it's not and it doesn't take away its seriousness, but
Mm-hmm.
it gives it comfort.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like relatable. It's like, okay, well, I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm not the only one thinking this, or I'm not the only one thinking that, but the comedy aspect to it, and it's not to say it's you're making a mockery of anything, but it's just sort of like, you know what? It was a definitely different read, and the reason why I say that because I read a lot of self-help books, and I actually recently did a solo podcast saying why I won't be reading any relationship books for the year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Overconsumption of it. But a book like this, which is fictional, and you can get into it and you're getting the experience, and I feel like it doesn't make you feel alone.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You know, the feedback that I've been getting is I related to her.
Hmm.
I felt her in that situation, and that's what I wanted out of all of it. Um, I wanted people to be able to, like you said, it's not making light of it. I deal with mental health. There's nothing
Hmm.
light about mental health, but when you
Yeah.
can add the aspect to laugh about it with someone else, a fictional character,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh my gosh, it's not so bad. And that's what I
Yeah.
want to get out of it, right? We're all a work in progress, whether you deal with mental health or you don't deal with mental health, or you have family friends that deal with mental health. We're all a work in progress. And so if you can find a fictional character to relate to, I think it makes it a lot easier on you, right? I think a lot of times with all of the self-help books and podcasts and commentary on self-help, that makes people like me even more anxious because it's like,
Yep.
should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? I think I
Hmm.
could do this better. I just
Hmm.
want a space to be me. And
Yeah.
that's what Monica wanted, the character. She just wanted to be her,
Yeah.
you know, unhinged, different, weird, yeah, issues, but I want to be me. And I
Yeah.
think that's why she started to see that. So in the bio really is a double fold. It's the biology of her. It's in the bio. It's in her. In the
Yeah.
bio, of course, it's in the bio being the online dating site, but there's a lot more to
I love the title.
there's a lot more to it when it was all said and done and that was and it was birthed and done and I was like, wow, this is beautiful because it's really in her bio. That's who she is as a person, and that's what I was telling you earlier. I have finally accepted this is who I am as a person, and finally I'm okay with it. On my anxious days, I'm okay. On my sad days, I'm okay. On my super high days, I'm okay, right? I'm starting to levitate and grasp and be happy with all of those pieces of me because it's in my bio.
Yeah. I really love the name because when I saw the name, I'm like, okay, this has to do with online dating, right? And then when I remember when I started when I went on to eHarmony, and it was so annoying, right? Because it's, people messaged you and I'm like, I don't like repeating myself,
Mhm.
right? So I'm like, if I have to keep telling you where I'm from, what I do for a living, this and that, whatever, it's in the bio. Like you're not
Yes.
reading it. Like,
That is, and nobody wants to, I'm so glad we're having this conversation because nobody wants to talk about this stuff.
yeah.
Is for people like me and like you, I don't want to tell 20 to 25 to 50 to 100 people, my name is this, I'm 49, I have 3 kids, I'm divorced. I don't want to
Yeah.
keep doing that.
Yeah. And
I
it became exhausting. And I'm like, clearly you are not reading the bio. And so it's just like, well, I'm not answering it. I don't want to, right? Because it takes time and energy to keep repeating yourself,
it does.
if everybody who's ever been a parent, like, do you really want to tell your kid 10 times,
Yeah,
to do something or to get the message across. It becomes frustrating,
it's
you
very, and
know?
those apps, I remember when I was on them, and I know you probably experienced it too with eHarmony and all that. They make you go through some things to create your bio. It has to
Right.
be so many characters, and you didn't fill in this and you didn't do that. So I don't want to tell you again. It's in my bio. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And that's why I thought the title was perfect. And then like even from my experience, I'm like, okay, I already said like I'm not doing the online thing. I'm like, I swear I'm gonna make a PDF. Oh, hi, how are you? Just for those ones that slide into your DMs. And then like, oh, how are you? Or what do you do? I'm like, I have to go through the same process again. Let me send you my PDF.
Yes, be done with it. Have an auto send.
Yeah.
Stop. I deal with that now. I have more of a presence on the internet. I used to shy away from social media just because I wasn't comfortable, but being an author, I'm like, well, you got to get out of that.
Yeah, you
And
do.
so now on my it's this running joke on my Facebook page. I have hundreds, I can't make this up, hundreds of DMs. And so I have this running joke about me being single on Facebook, right? So they always tell me, the men on there, well, why don't you go in your DMs and find somebody? No, because you have to keep repeating yourself. It's the same process.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yes.
change whether it comes from an app or the DMs. You're still repeating yourself.
And does your Facebook have like a good bio?
It
Like
does.
it
It
does?
it's very clear. It's very cut. It's
So
very
then they're not
clear.
reading it. Right? They're clearly not reading. I don't know. Is it laziness? Because I know for me, if I'm going through, like when I was on eHarmony, I'll go. And if the person had like three paragraphs, I was reading it.
I was I was too. I was too.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to know, is this going to be a good match? Is this a plausible match? Do I even want to strike up a conversation? If someone
Right.
came to me, or vice versa, I was literally reading this stuff. I was reading these because I wanted to see. But
Yeah.
no, I think with the world of online and technology, everything's quick, 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 quick.
Yeah.
And I think it's more visual, right? I
It
think
is.
oh, well, I think she's pretty. And I'm not going to speak on myself, anybody, right? Oh, I think
Right.
he's handsome. So let's just get to it. It's
Yeah.
like speed dating, technology
Mhm.
speed dating. And so, no, I don't think anybody reads anything. I'm very, very clear in how I speak. I
Yeah.
think I am. Look, I think I am. Let me take that back. I think I am. And yet, people will still ask me things that I'm positive it's in my bio.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's the whole repeating for thing for me. And then the with the online too, some people don't put any effort into their bio. Like you have to really guess, like, okay, your favorite song and favorite color is not gonna tell me who you are.
I'm jealous of those people because I couldn't even get past unless I plugged in everything. I mean,
Right.
it was telling me the different apps I use. It's like you didn't put enough characters about yourself. You didn't
Yeah.
say enough about this. So how they got through, I don't know.
Yeah. More and more people that I speak to within our age bracket, they don't like the online experience. They don't like it. But from what I've been listening to with I guess other podcasts and stuff like that, social media, TikTok, Instagram being the number one is actually how people are connecting now,
Mm,
and not the dating apps.
mm. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's saturated. It's oversaturated.
Hmm.
I spend a lot of time, like I said, because I have to now, and now I get to see I'm not alone. I'm not
Yeah.
alone in this battle. It's me and 10,000 other women on this one man's TikTok because he's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it's 10,000 of us on this one post on Facebook because he's handsome or smart or intelligent or what have you, right? And so we're all like crabs in a bucket here.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but I don't see it for me. Um,
Yeah.
I have seen some great stories. There was a lady that I saw last year on TikTok, and she met somebody online, and people were really going after her, like, "How could you do this and that?" And I don't know,
Really?
something about her intrigued me. She was very intriguing, and so I followed her. And people
Uh-huh.
were really coming for her because she met this man online, and she was speaking positively of the whole situation.
Hmm.
And move forward this year, they are married and she's still smiling. And I went and told her a couple of months ago, I am so proud of you. I've been
Yeah.
following you since the beginning of this process. So I think it still happens. I think it's, a shot in the dark, but
Yeah, it does happen. I don't know because there's so many people. There was something that I saw that was trending within the past 2 weeks of like I think between 2016 to 2024, the trends of how people met. The first one being through friends. Second one, I think it was church. And as the years progressed, you saw online became second. You're still meeting number one through
right.
your peers. Yeah. So, do you have any tips for either Monica or the listeners of how to have a social life single?
Yeah. I follow Monica's lead. She taught me a lot with what she
Yeah.
did. No matter how many times she got knocked down, she still kept going in. And so, my advice, my tip is no matter how many times you get knocked down, even if you're doing the online dating, right? I don't care what platform it's on,
Yeah.
get back up, get back up. Because you
Yeah.
never know. You never know how crafty somebody might be trying to be just to get to you. I think
Yeah.
that there is somebody for everybody. I know that's cliche, and I don't
Yeah.
particularly like cliches, but I do believe there's someone for everybody. And I think if you have something in you that says that you want to be a part of a union, I think that what you're looking for will find you. I don't care
Yeah.
if it comes through online dating, I don't care
Hmm.
how it comes, it's going to get to you.
Yeah.
Get back up. Even though it's tough, it's hard, we're up here repeating ourselves. We're like, did you read what I said? And do we even match at this point? What's looking for you is going to get to you.
Yeah. And is there a sneak peek that you can give us of one of Monica's dating experience? Maybe something that you could relate to, like one of her dates?
Yes. So one of the dates that I could relate to is she decided she wanted to go back to past people that she knew. And so she was online one day on a platform and she's like, "Oh, I remember him. We had some type of situationship, relationship, whatever." And so she reached back out and she tried to rehash something that was old and it fizzled out.
Mm,
So
yeah.
I've been that person. I'm like, oh, maybe it was a timing thing, and tried to go backwards with a situation and it went nowhere. So I could totally relate to that.
Yeah. I actually don't believe in the right person, wrong time.
Mhm.
I actually don't believe in that. It's like, nah, if you were right, it would have been right.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. I
Like,
agree.
like, I'm like, I don't want that, like, oh, maybe it's the right person wrong. No, too grown for that. I don't have time.
But that comes with all of these different aspects of everybody having a voice and media and everybody is able to give all this advice and I was one of those people that was listening to every
Sorry.
podcast you could listen to,
Yeah.
every self-help. I was that person too, and I think you can get too much information sometimes and your wires get crossed.
Oh yeah. I literally told myself for the rest of the year when it comes to relationship content, I would be saying an absolute no because I find that I become a lot harder on myself. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not there yet. I'm not making enough money. I'm not, the Proverbs 31 woman. I'm not the,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like all of these things. And I'm just like, you know what? I need a break because so much of this content overconsumption if it's one thing you're listening to it for gaining knowledge, but then we're also listening to it to be like, what's the secret sauce?
Yeah,
How could I get married, you know? And I find myself like after listening, I'm like, no, I actually feel really shitty about myself
yeah,
because
yeah,
I have no ducks in my row.
yeah, yeah.
They're all different, floating out different directions.
No, I'm the
Yeah.
same, and because my feed, because I listened to so many people, or I allowed people into my space, now it keeps coming at me, and I'm the same way. I'm like, oh my gosh. So you know what I do now when they start coming through? I'm like, yeah, that's going to be a no. I just
Yeah.
stop it. I have to stop it. I think with our we were well meaning to listen to other people because we
Yeah.
don't all know it all. But it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah.
And then you start to internalize things, and it didn't even have anything to do with you. It's like that isn't even
Hmm.
me, but I internalized it because that's all I'm listening to. How can I be better? How can I be better? No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. I think that we all have the tools that we have inside of us. I think it takes special people, hence my therapist last year, that can guide those things out of you. But we have everything that we need inside of us. We are
Yeah.
fully equipped to work that out. Sometimes we need a little guidance on how to get it out, but
Hmm.
we're equipped. We don't need to sit here and listen to this all day long, every single day. And like I said, I say this because I was doing it.
Hmm. So besides a therapist, do you have any other practices or routines that you do to keep you grounded in your singleness?
Absolutely. Prayer.
Yes.
Prayer. My oneness with God has
Hmm.
kept me afloat of all of this.
Yeah.
Prayer, working on me, working on myself, trusting me. I went on a weight loss journey
Hmm.
this year. And so that assisted me in showing me, once again, it's within you. You could have did it last year, but you weren't ready, but now you are. um, just trusting me, trusting that I know what's best for me. And
Hmm.
I have to say these things out loud. I say things out loud a lot. I do a lot of blogging now. I'm a writer, as you know. I told you I've been a writer my whole life, and I used to always journal. I have journals and
Hmm.
journals and journals all over the place. But what I started to do is I took from writing it down so much, and I will sit and I'll set my phone up and I will vlog something, because now power words are power. Now I'm
Oh,
speaking it
yes.
out to myself, and I'm
Hmm.
telling myself, guess what? Good morning. Have a great day. Things like that. And I do that pretty much every day. And so
Do you
I
post
don't
that or you
share it.
keep it for yourself?
No, I keep it for myself.
That's nice. I'm gonna try that.
Yes, ma'am. I load it up and I say good morning, however I want to start it off. Whatever happened that day, and I'm like, and I end it, and it's just private for me. Now, what's interesting is I started this last year.
Mm.
Everything that I'm seeing from last year, I'm like, oh, wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. And like I said, it's private to me. I don't plan on sharing it.
Yeah.
And I encourage you to do it. It's a really interesting, because you're saying the things out. You're
Yeah.
saying it out. You're not holding it in. You're not thinking about it, but you're saying it. If I have a bad day, I'm like, hey, it's me. And this is how I talk to myself on these blogs. Today wasn't a great day, but I'm going to try again tomorrow. Pause for reflection.
So you said you've been doing that for about a year now.
About a year.
Have you taken the time to sit down and go through them? Like start from the beginning or middle to say, okay, how you've grown or how you handle that situation? Because I'm sure if you see a video, you'll automatically know what set you were at, the mental
Mm-hmm.
state you were at. Have you done that?
I did. I did.
Yeah. How did it feel?
Um, it was surreal.
Mm.
It was surreal because I don't think I gave myself credit in all the work that I've done, big or small,
Mm.
until this past year. I don't think I've ever given myself credit, And I'm a Scorpio, and Scorpios are very, very, we're like this. And I never gave myself the opportunity to just open up just a little, just open up. And when I say open up, maybe not open up to people, open up to me. And so when
Yes.
I watched myself, I'm like, wow, look at you. Look at you this time last year. Look at you. Yeah, I could see in my face. I could see
Hmm.
in the way I spoke to the camera, even though it was a private vlog between myself, I could just see I could see that I just wasn't there. I wasn't ready to just expand. I wasn't ready to sit up a little bit taller. I thought I was. You couldn't tell me I wasn't, but you could just see it all in my face. You could see it in the way I talk to the camera. It's very interesting to watch it.
Yeah. That's beautiful. It's just being proud of yourself because nobody really taught us. We were taught to someone else has to be proud of us,
Mhm, mhm.
you know? Um, I know one of the exercises I've been doing of recently, like like example this week, I I have like been having trouble with my weight loss and fitness journey and stuff like that. Just being consistent. Consistency seems to be the biggest issue. So I remember this week, I said, I haven't done a spinning class in about 4 years. Let's go spinning, right? It's got my spinning shoes, everything, whatever. And got there because sleep is one of the issues that is keeping me back from being consistent,
Right.
right? But I got in the spinning class and I remember spinning and I'm like, okay, I already told the instructor, it's like, listen, I haven't done your class in 4 years. So take it easy. Right? So you see me dying, come and help me, right? So there's like, so I made sure, typical, go to the back of the class because I'm like, I am not trying to embarrass myself right now. And I remember on the bike, and I just, I said, Melissa, I am proud of you for showing up. I'm
Wow.
proud of you for being on this bike and for just moving your body, and it just felt like a kind of like your heart opening space,
Yeah.
just a
Yep.
sort of opening.
Yep.
And I'm like, when I mean I live a very single life, a very single life, so I have no social life or anything. So I have to pour into me constantly. And I think a lot of us forget those words of affirmations like, I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job. We have to give it to ourselves, you know?
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I want to
So,
encourage you to keep doing that, but make sure you're saying it out loud, right?
well,
Uh,
yeah. So now that I'm talking to you, I'm like, I am going to do that vlog.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. I think, a lot of times we really feel, especially with social media, right? It
Yeah.
tells us that all these people have all these different things going on and they're constantly doing this and they're constantly doing that. And they have these big circles of friends and all this. And social media is social media, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
But what about the people that are just single?
Yeah.
Single, sometimes lonely. I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of big friend crowds.
Right.
I'm just not. I like intimacy. I
Hmm.
like intimate friendships. That's just I've always been like that. And so, yeah, you have to pour into yourself. What if you don't have 10, 15, 20 friends to pour into?
Hmm.
It starts with us.
Yeah.
If I pour into me, it doesn't matter if anybody pours into me. Okay. And I think for myself as well, I think I used to think somebody needs to pour into me before I can finish this book. Somebody needs to support me before I can finish this book. Somebody needs to constantly keep checking on me before I can finish this book. And what this whole process taught me was no, they don't. No, 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 no. You need to pour into you. You need to accept you. You need to fall in love with you. You need to fall in love with your project. Nobody else needs to do this. Now, once you fill up you, it won't matter. It will not matter. You will stop looking for external types of things, because now you are continuously seeing you, the best in you. And that's why the vlogging, that video vlogging, me having to look at myself every day and then go back and review it, I'm like, oh, it was always about me. It had nothing to do with really singleness or being lonely. It always had to do with me. All of this whole scheme had nothing to do with any external source.
Yeah. Yeah, you touched on a lot of good things there because it's true. Sometimes we feel like we need the external thing to start the business, to go on that trip, to do things, when we're quite capable of doing it ourselves. Otherwise, God wouldn't have given us the idea. Yeah. And your book, you said it was written during the COVID time. So your character came to you because I'm trying to figure out, did the character come to you through any source of pain? Because the art usually oftentimes art is birth through pain. Would you say it was the same for you, or was it the right time when you subconsciously allowed yourself to be a writer that she came through?
She did come through pain.
Okay.
She came through loneliness. I think at that time I
Mm.
was already experiencing loneliness. My youngest son was living in Houston with his uncle, and so I became a empty nester quite quickly. My other two children, they're all spread apart, so they were already gone. But he was my last, and I wasn't quite prepared to be an empty nester. I was thinking, oh, I've got like 3, 4 more years before he graduates. Well, when he moved to Houston, I was thrown into a situation where I didn't have a child to take care of anymore in the house.
Mm.
So now I go to work, I come home, I don't have anyone to cook for, I don't have anyone to take care of, and it was just me. And so for the first time in my adult life, I had to face me. It was just me and me. I didn't have any more distraction. I didn't have to pick anybody up from school. I didn't have to deal with homework issues. I didn't have to cook dinner. It was just me. And so things got real. The pain started coming up, the pain of being by myself. And that's when I decided online dating was the best because I didn't want to deal with me. I didn't want to deal with my feelings. I didn't want to deal with the fact that I didn't feel like I was further along than I should be in life. I didn't want to deal with it. And it was very painful. I was drinking a lot.
Mm.
I mean, I was drinking like 90 going west. That's why I was like, I just didn't want to feel the pain of just being with myself and not
Yeah.
feeling like I had a purpose. And that's what it felt like. I had been a mom all this time. And I'm like, now I'm not even a mom. I'm not a mom anymore. I'm just me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, who are you? And it scared me. It scared me to realize, like, oh, is this where it ends? So I
Mm.
don't have a husband. I don't have a mate. I don't have a partner. I have nothing. It's just me. So that's where she birthed from. And she came at a great time because she came through and she snatched my creativity and pulled it through that pain. She stitched it, just weaved it right back through. And so, yeah, I have a lot of books that are done, that are in progress, but Monica surpassed everyone because everybody used to be like, when are you going to release that book? Or when are you going to release this project that you're doing? She jumped over everybody because I needed her. I needed her at that time. I needed to sit with her. I needed to watch somebody deal with anxiety and depression,
Mm.
pain, and loneliness. I needed her.
Yeah. I think a lot, you'll be surprised. I think a lot of people, men or women listening to the book, um, are gonna find some sort of comfort in that loneliness. We are facing an epidemic of loneliness. We are so disconnected. And it's not just like, you said when your kids left, you didn't know like your identity. And that happens often. It's like, who am I? I was a mom or someone who attaches their identity to their job and they lose their job for whatever reason. They're like, okay, well, who am I? I don't work at so and so place anymore, you know? But with the loneliness, we're all liking each other's stuff on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and whatever. And we're no longer having meetups. We're no longer, even in family, the structure of family has changed.
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, we meet up for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
Great. Peace out. I'll see you there same time next
Yeah.
year, and the value of friendships and, when I think about people, I think about tribe and community. And I feel like globally we are starving
Mm.
for it. There's a place in Australia that has a center for people to hug you.
I saw that.
Yeah. And I'm like, if people are not aware of this, like this is getting really bad because scientifically they're saying that loneliness is equivalent to smoking, I think, a pack of cigarettes a day.
Mhm.
If we continue like that, doesn't matter if you're in the biggest health routine and stuff like that, if you don't have connection and loneliness is, we're going to be a dying population.
You're absolutely right. And
Yeah.
that is, why I'm striving to do what I do. I'm striving
Yes. Beautiful.
to walk back towards touch, community, talking. I told my family, when I become wealthy, I don't say rich, wealthy, because
Yeah.
wealthy doesn't have a number. Okay.
Right.
When I become
Oh, I'm
wealthy,
taking that one too.
okay,
Write
the
that down.
wealthy doesn't have a number. I don't
Yeah.
commas. I don't even want to know what's in a bank, right? I don't even want to know what a bank
Yeah.
is. But I always told them, I want to have this big home. And when you come into this home, you got to leave your phone at the door. I'm
Yeah.
going to have a basket and you got to drop that phone in that basket
Yeah.
and you have to talk. And you can talk, you can cook, you can play games, you can watch TV, but we got to pull the community back together. And it takes you, it takes me, it just takes
Mm.
these little baby steps that we're doing because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that want to do it. I think it's just frightening. It's
Yes.
frightening. I'm not, I told you, I'm a Scorpio. I'm like this.
Hmm.
But I'm realizing through this whole process that there's beauty. I'm a nostalgic person. I miss talking and just, going and hanging out with my friends like we used to do, and we all sit around and laugh and giggle. Now it's like we have me and my girlfriends, we have a WhatsApp chat and we sit there and we overload each other with these WhatsApp all day.
Yeah.
So when they come to my house, we had a girls' weekend in July, and the emotion that came out of this weekend because we were all in each other's space was crazy, but it was
Wow.
beautiful. Like we
Yeah.
walked away from that weekend, like, what did we just go through? We cried, we laughed, we did all things, but it's because connection was there again. Connection was in the presence of us again.
Yeah. And there's a certain type of release that you get being amongst having like female friendships, and that it's not like that like with a romantic partner. There is a type of sisterhood, a understanding, I know there's a darker side to it too, because us women tend to be emotional and catty and, all these things. But there is a really nice thing that comes when women come together and they could release their emotions. I still go back to tribal times where women came together and they loomed together,
Right,
like those things. They were creating beautiful aspects of things. And I think sometimes social media puts a lot of pressure on female friendships because it's like, oh yeah, I bought the house today or I did this today. And it's not
right,
like, hey, how are you doing though?
right,
Yeah.
right. you know that's the thing about it. Although obviously we need social media, we wouldn't be doing this. But
Yeah.
you can use social media in a great way. You can pool your resources with other people, and you can try to get things out to eventually touch and meet with these people, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing you have to keep doing. You have to keep moving towards, because I'm telling you, there's all types of people that are sitting at home somewhere that'll watch this and be like, I want to do that. I want to sit there and talk with them. I'd love to
Yeah.
have coffee with them. I would love, to
Yeah.
go for a walk or go on a dinner date, but it has to start somewhere and it has to start organically. And I think the more these types of things, I'm so grateful that you're doing things like this,
Yeah.
because I think everybody's pretty exhausted.
Yeah.
Everybody's exhausted, right? And I
Yeah.
think that the only way to assist us with this type of exhaustion is human touch, hugs, laughing, the simple stuff.
Yeah.
The simple, just simple stuff.
Yeah. It's true. Do you think Monica will come back for a second book?
I hope so. I have a lot of people that just really see her coming back. They're asking me, I can't wait for the next one. And I'm like, oh, is there a next one? Um,
Yeah.
and so I think so. I think that she does have more to say. She hasn't been talking to me, but
Yeah.
I do think that she has more to say. I do.
And where is your book available? Is it on
Abs-
Amazon?
yes. So you can purchase it at Audible, Apple
Hmm.
Books, or Google Play.
Okay. Is it only available on Audible, or do you have it in all the other formats as well?
It's on Audible right now. So the company that I used to publish my book, they actually shot it out to all these different companies. So what you do is you just go onto my website, www.imagineme.com, and then click the buy my book, and that will take you to the necessary avenues to buy the book.
Okay, so this podcast is actually going to be on Spotify and YouTube. So whoever's listening, I would highly recommend listen to it because it was such an experience. Like I said, I think I didn't even get to like a couple minutes on it and I messaged you, I emailed you right away. Right? And I'm like, oh my God, this is good. And then I got home yesterday and I put my beats on because I find like I just listen, sound is just so much better there. And I'm like, this is a good experience. Like I've never had the experience of listening to a book um like this. I think the closest thing I could think of was the Bible animated.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
have
yeah,
that.
which is the closest thing. So but I'm like, so because I'm so used to the self-help books, right? So they're just reading, reading, reading. You're not getting a background noise or whatever. So when I was reading your book, I was like getting the little sound bites, really like listening to a movie.
Yeah,
I felt like I had the TV on and I had the headphones on and I just left the TV and I went downstairs doing my own thing.
yeah.
And the experience was a really pleasurable experience. It was exciting too, but I would highly recommend to all the viewers and listeners to really to listen to it. It's a
Thank you
different
so.
experience.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. It's very three-dimensional. It's so much fun. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that everybody would love it. Like it's very three-dimensional because
Yeah.
there is sounds. You're hearing her talk and then, sounds. And the
Yeah.
sounds continue in every facet of the book. They change.
Yeah.
So it's always something different. And
Yeah.
it was so much fun to do. Very fun process.
Where can people reach you? Your social media.
Yeah, so all of my social media is on my link tree, which is under Imagine Me, IMAJENME.
Mm,
Or again, you can go to my website, www.imagineme.com, and everything's on there. Tells a little bit about me, tells a little bit about the book, and it's got all my social media links and things like that and contact information.
great. I'll link it in the description below. And I ask all my guests that come on, is there one particular book or person that has inspired you throughout your journey, your healing journey?
Yes. And it's crazy who I'm gonna say,
Yeah,
but Robert Greene.
me too.
Robert Greene
Oh,
has
yeah.
inspired me more than anybody can know.
Hmm.
The very first time I listened to his book by audiobook. It was shared to me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so diabolical! I couldn't imagine." But I hadn't evolved in who I was, and when
Yeah.
I started to evolve, I was like, "Oh, this makes so much sense." So now I have
Yeah.
all these Robert Greene books stacked on my table right now.
That's
Um,
amazing. Because it's weird that you said that because yesterday I was supposed to appear on a podcast as a guest, and
mhm.
that was one of the questions. And Robert Greene is one of my favorite authors.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know why people are afraid of his content. I feel like it's so realistic and it helped me heal so much.
I think you have to be involved in who you are, right? You have to be.
Yeah.
I was definitely, when I got that book, I was so detached of who I was. You know, I was still that running mom, running around, very busy, not really knowing who I was. And so I was working, and I had my headset on. I was working. I was like, oh, you know, oh. And I remember I text this person that shared it with me, and I was like, oh, this is diabolical. She's like, keep listening, you'll love it, you'll
Yeah.
love it, you'll love it. But
Yeah.
it's funny because that was right before this whole Monica experience
Yeah.
started coming into. So it was right on the cusp of what was about to happen. And I didn't know.
Was it the 48 Laws of Power you were
Yeah,
reading?
that was
Okay.
the very first one that I read.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
loved it.
now I'm up to the laws of nature, the law, the
That was
master.
good
Yeah,
too.
I have all of these in my possession. So he's very
Yeah.
important to me. I also listen to him on any type of
Mm,
outlet that he offers information. I think he's a very intriguing teacher.
yeah. Well, thank you, Contessa, for coming on Turning Pages. I
Thank you
would,
so much.
this was a pleasure. I really enjoy your book and taking the time, for you taking the time and speaking to us today.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure to talk to you,
Yeah.
and many blessings on your journey and your platform. This was so much fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Hold on a minute, right?